Hi everyone, this is Grégoire from Paris, France. Et voilà. I am back with something different as my nose and palate, the bronchitis comes and go. What else to do? Trying to fight it now with the essential oils. And meanwhile, while I was browsing my YouTube, I noticed suggestion by YouTube of a video bringing a challenge to pick 5 whiskies only, and it was a challenge. Correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't dig too much into this. I did a bit improvise, but again it was quite still some work. It seems that ADHD channel launched the challenge, but I might be wrong. And then I saw WhiskeyRN, aka Cierra, do the challenge, and I left a comment to say I might jump into this, but of course, as usual, as I am different, I have some experience, and also I cannot do a lot of videos at the same time when I'm off work. So that is also why people don't know that I had to group a lot of things I have to say in one shot. So and I don't do no editing. It will be even worse time wise. So it is what it is. I hope you'd like it. Initially, that crazy idea, you can keep only 5 whiskies challenge with a twist, was to do 4 lists of 5 whiskies. Finally, I dropped the first one, which I might introduce in another way later on, because must be probably a frustrating one. It was called "So You Choose Your Favorite Ones, Whatever Cost and Availability," and the problem is that most of these whiskies are gone, and availability and price are difficult. You still I think find 2 of them, but I had to drop this. Of course, it's high-end stuff, it's unicorns as some say, so I won't mention them. Those who know the channel knows what I'm talking about. Yoichis, Bowmores, Lecheg, some old Buna and old Glenallachie, so quite some special stuff. So let's forget about that. I'm bringing 3 different lists, and the first one would be, of course, within the you can keep only 5 whiskies, but you know me, it will be the first challenge would be with the option, but the whiskies have to be available as much as possible and under around 40 euros, so maybe 30 pounds, something, dollars, I don't know, 35, something like that. So let's start with this first list, in which I will bring in no particular order, except maybe some kind of power going on in expression of the flavors. I would start by triple distilled Irish whiskey, and you will be surprised, I know you will be surprised, that I will advise you something very well, anyway, there's always something written there, so it will be difficult not to have something written. There it is, the original Bushmills. Why the original Bushmills with the grain and a lot of grain, not necessarily a lot of malt? Because the more I try this, the more I find it fantastic, superbly balanced, and really highlighting the grain component of this, and very well made. 40% ABV, colored, etc. I know that. You might be disappointed in that first category. There are quite some into that. Sorry. But I'm sticking to my choices. I already talked about this. I did a video about this, so I won't be super long about that. If you can find a bit more limited, but still a wide, again, I'm gonna repeat myself. I'm sorry for those who have seen it. For the others, might be interesting. This rum finish Bushmills, and it's not a single malt. I heard somewhere it's a single malt. No, it's still a blended whiskey, like the first one I showed you. It's just as it's written here. If it want to focus, oh, come on. So it says Bushmill single malt finished in hand-selected Caribbean cask and blended with smooth triple distilled Irish grain whiskey, right? For subtle fruit and dry spices flavors, bananas, pineapples, pears, summery dram on ice. It's very nice as well. Now, for those a bit more demanding, and we're still at Bushmills, it's a more limited, and this time it's a single malt. I already talked to you about it. This is the 12 years old first fill sherry cask. Again, 40%, but it's still a nice one. It has been also reviewed. Well, let me put all that back so that will be easier. There's a lot of bottle because I give you also some alternative version sometimes. Now into Scotch blended whiskey category. I'm gonna again bore you maybe with that Ballantine's 12, which it's a fresh bottle. The other is almost finished. I still find some consistency in there and some very nice delicacy, subtlety. So this of course is in the first cheap category, so that is why I'm not going into expensive stuff. Another blend I haven't covered yet on my channel, but on my website, is the Dewars, hard to spell it correctly. 12 years old, it's a new one, the Ancestor. I kind of prefer the old one. I still have some, but I wanted to show you the current or almost packaging. Complex blend with his component married a second time, raised separately and then married all together. What do we have next? We're going now into single malt, and I have only one option there, and again sticking to it. Sorry or not sorry. Glenmoray Speyside, the Elgin Classic. It's the name of the range, but it's also the name of this whiskey. No age statement, 40%, etc. But it's a fantastic dram, and it works quite well as an aperitif, in my opinion. It never lets you down. Now I had the option. Okay, let's go for some peat now, and I don't want to make this a long video, and you won't be surprised if you know me. This is an old-time classic for the 3% ABV, Diageo's flagship. I think you can find this. If you cannot, you can pick the Moch, which is not bad, but I prefer the great balance of the 12. And of course, as you can see, I think they really copied it very well. I don't have it, but it's in the wish list. If you cannot find this and you find the Port Escague 8 years old, it's very nice as well. Of course, I prefer the 100 proof. No age statement, 7 years old, something like that. But really, the Port Escague range usually brings some good stuff. Otherwise, of course, this is a super classic. So that's it for the first category. Stick around for the second. No, I'm not going to pause because I'm afraid it won't work. It's again a branded glass. Sorry, I forgot. Grants, I'm going to cover them soon when I'll be better. It is going. It's on its way. Just have to be patient. Now for something a bit different, and not really a bourbon because it's a Tennessee whiskey with the charcoal filtering process, the Lincoln County process. This is an old bottle, mind you. The reserve one is somewhere a bit remote now. This is probably has, my God, some age, and I forgot to double check, something like 2005 or the single barrel at 45% ABV. I'm gonna try soon another version thanks to Gert again. He sent me on a sample, 100 proof Traveler Select. There's a new one in France called Only Bonded at 45% ABV. It's supposed to be bottled in bond. I have no idea it's only for French market or if it's international, global I mean. I might pick it. It's a bit more expensive, this one. Forgot to speak about price. Everything I showed you, and even the Glenmorangie here, is under 20 euros. Everything is around 20 for the Bushmills, except the last one, the Sherried, at around 30 on launch price. Ballantine's 12, retails around 25. Dewars 24 to 30, maybe 35 here for the Colilla, and this one around 27 or 25. So quite cheap. Lots of flavors, lots of maple, lots of gentle oak, some sweet baking spices, but well balanced. Usually a very nice one. So that's it for the first category. Now the second category is almost the same, except it's a bit more upper category. So whiskies you have that have to be available as much as possible, but this time under 100 euros. So under 100 euros, what have we got? I picked to start is a blended malt, and something represented the craft, the artistry in blended malt. Of course, I could have picked a Douglas Lang and a Rock Island, which was Rock Oyster, but for some reason, or sentimental or personal reason, I picked the Oak Cross. Now, I hear some of you scream, "No, Greg, the Oak Cross is discontinued," etc. Yes and no. Like I said in some chat, live shows chats, it is not discontinued really. It is limited in the sense of it is still in stock, on stock in France at some retailers with the new packaging. Not this one. I have a double of this. Again, a bit remote. This is a fresh, not freshly, but recently opened bottle from around 10 years ago. No. Yeah, I don't remember now. Sorry. 2010. Wow. Yes, more. This is splendid. This is my favorite of the core range. Yes, to be honest, over the easily over the Pit Monster and over the Spice Tree and everything. I only prefer some limited releases to this. This might be difficult to find, and I wrote personally to John Glazer, who's now someone close to me in a way, and he told me they are reconstituting the specific stock that is prepared for this recipe, which has a lot of Kleinlich. No surprise. So they're reconstituting the stock for this, and it will reappear soon. So I don't want to consider it really as discontinued. But of course, if you don't find it, I have a solution for you as always. I think the Orchid House, which is not again replacing, I heard that it is not true, this is not replacing the Oak Cross. They will come on addition to it, but for the moment it will take its place in a way. Yes, okay. Beautiful, beautiful assemblage. Assemblage means blending. It's a French word, but sometimes you will find it in the vocabulary, even in the kitchen category, cuisine. So I talked already about it. I did a review about it. Again, as for the Bushmills, please check out my videos about these whiskies. I don't do that often. Click the like button if you like the video. Please comment, but because there's a lot of people who watch the videos and do not let even it was interesting, thank you, or something like that. So the YouTube algorithms considers it's not a successful video, and I get at the end of the month a summary of the performances of the channel, and they're not always good because they're not people leaving a lot of comments even if they're happy with the video. So and of course I accept positive criticism. So beautifully fruity, floral, very nice, young but very well made. This one is at 46% instead of 43 for the cross, non-chill filtered, non-colored. Did I need to say that? Next choice is again on the subtlety, but more on the Irish side. The bottle is not open, but I tried a sample that was quite close in time to this, thanks to Jim Muskinovis. This is the one you must have in the upper category, and still under, I think it was around 60 euros here. It's not super cheap, but honestly the quality is very high. 46%. There's a lot of typically Irish notes in there, the great balance, a lot of character. So you get your usual for this single pot still blackcurrant bud and tiny red fruits in there. You get also this kind of praline, this kind of special nutty thing that's more Irish, a bit crispy as well, some nice spices, hints of orange, peach, apricot. So very rich and beautifully crafted single pot still. It is made, of course, powered by Middleton Distillery, one of the biggest, still one of the 3-4 biggest in Ireland. Republic this time, not Northern Ireland as the Bushmills. Third choice, and I will give you, we'll give you an alternative, two alternative, in fact. Okay. Let's say if you like sherry and you like rich sherry, Oloros or sherry, but with a twist, with the distillery house style, that is not Glenfarclas, it's not Macallan, the old Macallan, now forget it. It's not Glendronach, it's not Abelard, it's different, with its kind of melon note and kind of ripe fruits, a bit special profile. If you still can find this, this is a superstar. This is a great, great whiskey. Okay, my bottle is old. I bought another one in reserve that's less old, but this is all natural stuff, and it's 12 years old. I already spoke about this one. If you like a bit different sherry, this is for you. Now, if you not crazy about sherry, you prefer a very nice bourbon. It was a bit over beyond the first category, because in France it's not 30 or 40, it's a bit 45, 50 euros. I give you a bourbon option, the perfect bourbon option in single malt, Scottish single malt category. Of course, I haven't reviewed it yet. I have three now, three bottles and several samples to cover. I'm waiting because it's very subtle to be better to do a rundown. This is a fantastic symbol of first fill bourbon, what it can do. Is there only first fill bourbon in there? I'm not sure, but it shows there's a lot. If it's not, there's a lot. It's non-chill filtered, non-colored. It's made by Angus Dundee Distillers, yes, and this one is 46%, and a lot of esters, lots of, like I say on my language, English licorice, all sorts sweets, and some English people say me, what is that? So it's the sweets that are a bit like gelatin looking, and it's a lot of exotic fruit, some kind of artificial, so banana, pear, pineapple, stuff like that. And is also it also provides the kind of very beautifully floral, exuberant floral notes as well. So really recommended if you're not into sherry. Now for the sherry monsters lovers, there's something that's overlooked because it's core range and 46%, and it is something I already talked to you about. I didn't do a special video about it, I noticed, but look at this stunning color and look at this crazy. This is core range sherry oak matured. Packaging might have changed a bit since this bottle, but this is so good. If you want to hear the notes about this, I give you a spoiler. I did a live show with several blind tastings, and some of mine, some of the friends, Johnny Spirits people, and Anthony and Nikki from New Gen Drinker. It's a while ago, it's a long time I haven't done a live with guests. I hope to do some soon, but they tried this and they were all blown away. So really it's expensive, it's around 80 euros, 90, something like that. It's less expensive than the Solist series, 150, 200, 400 sometimes. It's more not super easy to find, but where I am it's quite easy to find. But these last 2 years I don't see it often on I mean, again, to put it back on the shelves, so you have to go in some special shops to find it. But honestly, this is a stunner. So it beats Macallan's. I already said that, I'm sorry to repeat myself, from over 20 years old. And it's as it's the Taiwanese, I forgot to mention it's from Taiwan, one of the two or three distilleries, I don't remember, two at least, exporting single malt distilleries. The other one is Nantu, providing now called Yushan single malt, that were called before Omar. But I haven't tried a lot of them yet and haven't bought any. This is the I think, yeah, this is only equivalent I have finally. Still trying to have some others that are there's a new one I haven't tried, the triple sherry wood. I'm very curious about, but I regret the 40% ABV for almost the same price as this. It's a shame. But we'll see. I hope to try it. Anyway, enough rambling. This is great. You have to try this one someday if you want a real how to do a great sherry whiskey. If you don't have this, take this. You have good chance to be satisfied in a more traditional Abelard, Glenfarclas. If you like the Abuna, this one is a bit more balanced, I think, especially this batch. It's not recent, again, I'm sorry, but I tried some 2 years ago. It was from another more recent batch. It was nice, very nice. So I suppose you can go for it. Right. Last but not least, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to praise this. Noise statement, current 40% ABV single malt from the Yoichi distillery, northeast of Japan. Already talked about it. I did a special review about 7 expressions I have from this distillery, plus around the 22, 23 I tried that I can speak about, and I did speak a bit about. A lot of them are covered in my website as well. Super balanced single malt, very well made despite no age statement. Yes, and thanks to Mac for the news from Combine Planet. Great channel. The 10 years old is back, to my big surprise, in 2022, while it was announced, the age statements were announced for 2030. So I'm a bit worried. This is only a limited local release of around 9,000 bottles, something like that. Check out Mac's channel and Mac's social media about this one. You're gonna learn everything. The new one, I mean. Otherwise, he did compare this to the Miyagi-Kyo NAS. I'm still late because I had this painful episode, but I will do Miyagi-Kyo rundown as well, with the old no age statement, new age statement, 10 years old, the old one, etc. But highly recommended. From 75 to 80. 85 is a bit too much, but yeah, 75, 80 euros, not cheap, but the quality is super high. And it beats a lot of aged 12 years old single malt from Scotland, in my opinion. Right. Last category. You're gonna tell me, what can you bring else to the table, Greg? If you're wondering. Stay tuned after a sip of water. Last category, and I'm gonna try to make it not too long. And yes, they're all over the place, the bottles. That's why I put it there. And okay, let's start. Let's do it like a regional thing. The last category I picked, and it was just a crazy idea from me, is okay, you can keep only 5 whiskies from your collection, but they have to be distilled from distilleries who didn't exist before year 2000. How about that? I thought, oh cool, this could be interesting to do that. I found this crazy idea, but of course you got it. It's a way to highlight new distilleries. Okay, I could only pick 5, and there's some I have in samples, so I didn't want to show you samples. But I picked 5, and I'm gonna pick one which is not from Scotland, and I will start by this, which I started to explore just before my COVID, and I really enjoyed it, to my surprise, because it's 70 something, 75 or 70% STR, shaved, toasted, and recharred ex-wine red wine casks. And in theory, I'm not a super fan of that, even if I did work with those casks for the whiskey I created for a French distillery, but they were not STR, they were ST, not recharred. Different type of cask as well, and also different yeast, different still a lot of things were different. But now with this bottle, and also the Émeric Roborel de Clemence, French indie bottler, kind of a French John Glizer in a way, what he did with the Alsatian distillery HEP, and put their distillate from east of France to Bordeaux and do fantastic stuff with all its experience of wine. This is fantastic. This and Cotswolds, for instance, did change my mind about wine casks, matured whiskeys. 30% bourbon still in there, I think. Not going too far with this one because I still have to try it. I also have to cover. I didn't show you the one which I might prefer, which was the bourbon oak, because it's more limited than this one. Even if it's batches of 6,000, it's the core range. Odyssey barley, it's the one they use. It's 2005. It's something 3 to 4 years old content, but it's very well made. I have to say I was so glad after my non-completely finished Seaward episode to find back some of the beautiful notes. It's a very autumnal whiskey, and I loved the orange marmalade notes in that, for instance, and some Christmas also spices maybe. So a bit also green whiskey, very nice. Cotswolds, it was called Signature. I don't see the reference now of Signature for some reason, but Cotswold single malt, Odyssey barley, and the year of distillation, then the year of bottling. This is the way you find it. Moving on now to another craft distillery, but from Scotland and Lowlands, Kingsbarns. It's the Dream to Dram core range release. This is a distillery that didn't release whiskey itself when I visited Lindor, which was not far. Alas, I didn't have time to visit this, but later on they did release this thing, and honestly it's one I forgot to mention, founded in 2014, Cotswolds, in this beautiful region of England, as I see on some reports on Instagram and on the website of the distillery. This is Lowlands in the county of Fife, not too far from Edinburgh, and of course this one is very close. It was made, I will review it in due course, tell you more about it. It's close to the St. Andrews Gulf course, so there's a lot of things that are linked with it. This is beautiful. This has also some STR, but as you can see, it mentions first fill bourbon as well. It's super well made, floral, fruity, very balanced. It's different from the Cotswolds. There's citrus fruits, there's vanilla, there's sweet spices, and a lot of things going on. And even if it says limited release, it's a core range. 46% ABV, nothing added, no color, and light filtration. Beautiful packaging, I have to say, as the Cotswold and a few others on the table. Now we're moving to where are we moving? Let's go up straight to the north and find a new distillery founded in 2013, Wolfburn, and this is one of the early releases. At some point it was called Northland. Don't remember now if it's still called Northland, but it is the basic ex-bourbon only cask. There's also the Aurora I could have shown you. There's this 46%. If you want a more oomph on it, there's a Landscape, which is the cask rank one, which is still nice option. Retail prices, forgot to say, this one and the Cotswold around 45-50. This is one of the cheapest option on the new distilleries, and we have to salute that with the one coming next. This was around 50, if I remember, a bit less. This is Supercraft. It's a tiny distillery. This is way north, Highlands. This is 100 kilometers beyond Old Pulteney, so it beats it in terms of being septentrional and still mainland. Otherwise, of course, you have Highland Park and Scapa. Right, I hope not to be too long. Not last but not least, but almost. One of the distilleries that, if not impressed me the most recently from Scotland. Okay, mind you, haven't tried all the new distilleries that people talk about because we didn't have shows for 2 years, etc. And there were a lot of controversial releases and things that involved a lot of type of casks again, so we're not super excited about that. And also I wanted to try the result before buying anything, because they were not all cheap, those new distilleries bottlings. So I had an opportunity to try in a restaurant. I already did a video about that, so I'm gonna be short. West Highlands Ardent American. This one is from 2021 April, and it's the third release of the year. So this code alas is going off now. They just put the AD/ and nothing, which I found weird. At least, please, you could have kept the year of bottling, please. Right. Who am I? Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. This around 40-50 casks, and I'm already talked about it. This is one of the most subtle single malt I've tried at only 4 or 5 years old. This is at the level of some Taliskers, indie Taliskers, which are lightly peated, like this one. They also have a heavily peated version I've bought, and still haven't really entered into it, but this is great. You can find this version. There are other batches. There are several reviewers who spoke about that, but this was around 40-50 something. Really great price and beautiful offer. Very subtle, very maritime whiskey. Highly recommended. Okay, I'm glad I'm under 40 minutes. So that's it. I hope it was interesting. I have constantly the impression of repeating myself, so I don't know. This is not over. I forgot one. If you want more peat, I have something for you, and I'm obliged, and it's a new bottle, fresh new of another batch. I'm obliged to highlight this version. I know you're gonna get mad at me, Greg, it seems to be a French exclusive. Yeah, but you can find it online, I think, still. And the more I try it, the more I love it, and I find it superior to the Mackay Bay from far. And haven't tried a new Saneg. I know it's different. I love the old Saneg with a different recipe. I'm going to speak about that later on. 46% ABV, unchill filtered, uncolored, one of the most beautiful packaging of the planet, whiskey wise. Even the cork, it's not open, but just finished, just keeping 2 cl to check the difference. The batches, I talked about it in a video. I did a special blended malts about this one. Recipes I give away in a video. This is, the more I've dig into it, this has gone really stunning at this point. Some whiskies you have to wait until this point, like Whiskey Novice Jim said for his Saneg recent version. He had to wait for this point to be satisfied. This one delivers almost already after the opening. So there's now 2 videos of mine speaking about that. Please check it out. Now, if you don't find it, which I can plainly understand, I propose you to under 100 euros. Sometimes it's almost at 100, but the Lochgom, this one is an old one, I know, not replaceable, this batch, which is quite early. Now I don't have the info. Doesn't say distilled 2009, bottle 2014. All right, thank you Kilhoman for your informations on the front label, which is always great. Right, there you have it. I hope it was interesting. Stay tuned, and I hope to be back soon with some tastings, and in the meantime, take care.